moving back to kind of the Grammy winner in less than a year of existence. So NPR Global, explain exactly what the role was of NPR Global in the Muni Long
Hours and Hours
Grammy winning hit.
Yes. Okay. So NPR is a company that I started with my partner Drew DeLeon.
Yeah.
So myself and Drew were working at Alamo at the time. Not the time that, well, whatever. We were working at Alamo at the time. And so basically what I realized from breaking Rod and Dirk, it was all content. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, Rod was like the perfect content creator because he documented everything. But the difference was he was doing it for YouTube. He was putting it in his music videos. Like, Rod never really shot a music video. All his music videos was just
vlogs, like nicely edited.
Yeah, they were basically vlogs. But the beauty in that was it was right when TikTok was taking off. And so Drew would just take the long form and chop it into short form and post it on TikTok.
Because Drew was over marketing at Alamo.
So Drew was head of digital marketing. I was head of sales and revenue.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
So you were clearly closely aligned with how are we using marketing and content marketing to drive revenue,
drive sales and revenue. Exactly. So I mean, me, Drew, the product manager, my guy Dharmic, shout out to Dharmic, me, Drew, the product manager, and JJ, who is what's the name of JJ's company? It's a distribution company. I'm so sorry, JJ. I can't think of the name of the company.
We love you, JJ.
We love you, JJ.
But so the distribution company that we were using, because we weren't using Universal, because Alamo has a deal where they can do, their own independent, and then they can upstream it to Universal. Oh. And so we weren't using Universal. His name is slipping my mind. But anyway, so it was really just us four. Breaking Rod wave. And so when I realized that, I'm like, man, like, we didn't need a major. We need any, Rod was like the top 5 rappers in the game. Yeah. And it's like, we never touched Universal System. It was 4 people, and I'm like, yo, like, Drew, like, we should just go do this on our own. Like, like, why don't we? And so in talking through that, Dirk happened. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, Drew, like, bro, like, if we did this, imagine us owning it versus just working. You know what I mean?
So Dirk was also Alamo?
Yeah, Dirk was Alamo. Yeah, same process with Dirk that we did with Rod.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the same thing. And so when we left, we signed Muni Long in May of 21. We put out her first project in July of 21. And by December of 21, we had the #1 song in the world.
But was that a label deal?
No, so I started a distribution company.
Okay, so it was distribution.
Yeah, it's distribution. For
Muni Long.
I use the term distribution because the term label has a stigmatism to it. Okay. But it's basically a label.
Sure.
But I say distribution because we artist friendly.
Yeah.
Like, we don't sign away to masters or anything like that. So it's kind of like how you have Empire distribution. It's independent distribution.
Yeah. You're taking a percentage.
But our situation is the label, because we're paying for everything. Like, I put like $800,000 into Muni Long.
Damn. Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
so it takes $800,000 to get a Grammy, folks.
Yeah,
that's all you need.
At least. Nah,
that's all you need, folks.
It's not bad.
So if you got to line around,
it's not bad.
I mean, I got that under the mattress.
We could raise that, I think.
So I had done so much in the industry at that point that when I started NPR, I just raised the money to start it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just went around to friends and family. Guys, it's me.
Yeah. Look at the track record. We've done this.
Give me the money. And, 5 months in, we were #1. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So what were some of the, I know every artist is different, right? But some of the principles and just some of the tactics probably are consistent. Like, what were some of the actual components of the marketing plan and the strategies that you
so our initial, right? So Muni Long specifically, right?
Yeah.
Our initial strategy was to put out 4 EPs in 1 year. You know what I mean? Because basically, when you look at Rod, like, I remember at one point, Rod, we had dropped his album, and I looked up the next month, and he had already put out 3 separate singles.
Damn.
And I'm just like, bro, like, he just will not stop. You know what I mean? Like, if anybody ever thought that was a label, no, that's Rod. Like, Rod, he's going to drop when Rod wants to drop, whenever, however, right? And so I'm like, man, like, I talked to them, and I'm like, she's a songwriter. She has hundreds of songs. Like, we need to turn her into the R&B version of Lil Baby. Like, she needs to constantly be dropping. So our initial goal was 4 EPs in 1 year. You know what I mean? And so she had already put out the first one before we signed her. Because I was working with her on a consultant basis before I signed her. And so she had already put out the first one. And that one, when I met her, she had it ready already. She was like, hey, I'm about to put this out. You know what I mean? Can you help me put it out? And so we put the first one out. But the second one, I actually A&R'd. You know what I mean? From that point, from the second one on, I was actually in the studio helping her create these records. And so we just talked about, you know, how do we relate to going back to the beginning of this conversation, how do we talk to your people? You know what I mean? When you're talking to your friends, you know, what is your wordplay like? What phrases are you using? You know, what cuss words, like, how do you answer the phone? What are you saying? So we talked about that type of stuff and said, okay, now our records need to be that. You know what I mean? Like, this is how we need to talk in our records, because we're trying to find that target demographic, you know what I mean? And so from there, we started putting out the projects, put out the second project. And with that, I think we put it out in July. By October, we found the right piece of content, because in today's day and age, even way more so back then, it was like content led everything, you know what I mean? And so we found the right piece of content. The content went, I don't want to call it viral, but it did vary. It was a big spark for us in October. So it came out in July. Didn't get a spark to October. Off of that spark, we just put out the next project immediately. We're like, okay, we're gonna ride this wave and put something right on top of it. We put out the next project, and the next project had Hours and Hours on it. And so Hours and Hours wasn't the initial focus track. It was actually a song called Time Machine, which also I think is platinum now. Yeah. But yeah, so Time Machine was the focus track, but Hours and Hours, like, because I think we put out on a Wednesday. Yeah, like by Friday, we were looking at the analytics, and it was obvious that Hours and Hours was going to be a hit record, because 99.9% of the time, if you put out a song, the streams go like this on day one, and then from there on, they're going down. You know what I mean? That's standard. Like, that, it doesn't happen any other way but that. So if you see a record come out the first day and go up, and then the second day go up, and the third day go up, that's a smash. Like,
so you shift your focus immediately to that record. And
that's exactly what we did. So instead of, we had all the music videos ready. So instead of putting out the Time Machine video, we put out that video.
Yes.
And then from there, her friends actually did a montage of like their love. They like their engagement video. And I saw the montage and I'm like, man, this could be a great trend. And so I basically just reached out to every influential couple I knew. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, you know, I had this record. It's doing
J&B, like, you know, on speed dial, right?
Well, I was DMing them. Yeah, I was DMing them. Yeah, and I'm like, yo, I got this record. It's working really well. I sent them the montage. I'm like, can you do something like this, you know, as a couple with your footage? Because it was all old footage. It was like, not like they had to go shoot anything. And so most of them said yes. The people who didn't say yes, I made it. I went to my team. I said, yo, grab all the footage of them offline, make it. So some of them said yes, posted on their own. Some of them didn't respond. I sent them the footage they posted. The people who I sent the footage they didn't post it, I paid to have it posted. Like the Lil Durk one, I paid to get it posted on Academics. And then Lil Durk commented and he posted that. So we got 2 for 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like basically, I just went after every influential couple, and I either had them do it for free, made it for them, or made it for him and paid to post it.
Okay, let's just pause for like 5 seconds.
So much
here,
game
JR.
right there. Oh my gosh.
Okay, hold on. Hold the fuck on, JR.
Game.
Okay, so just for everyone who just needs, I mean, maybe just rewind it, but I'll go ahead and summarize.
We're going to make a clip out of that too.
Hitting up influencers, a lot of them will, because they're always looking for content ideas, they will do these types of things sometimes for free.
Well, it was people I knew too.
But sure, but just in general, there are people out there, micro influencers. I would say like 80% of them did it. Majority of the people I hit did it. Sure. Yeah. So A, befriend fucking influencers so that you can hit them up for these types of things.
Even small ones.
Even small ones. Okay. But number 2, if they weren't initially responding to your request and posting it, you literally took the time out of your own day or your team's day to basically chop up footage for them, make a clip that you think they would like to post, that fit the trend that you wanted to do, and you had them post it.
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
So,
and even if they don't post it, you can post it.
Yeah, and even if they didn't post it, I would just pay to get it posted.
Sure. And then if they don't, you pay to get it posted.
And if they don't, you pay to get it posted.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so like the ones that didn't post, I would pay Spiritual Word or pay. It depends on which, like Dirk Academics made sense. Like some of them Spiritual Word made sense.
Academics loves Dirk.
Yeah, and so
They're like best buds now,
so-
probably because of that.
Yeah, so I just made sure it was everywhere, and of course from that everybody else started doing it. The normal people, the everyday people started doing it. Then more celebrities started doing it, and it just became like the biggest moment of that year. You know what I mean? It was everywhere. And then Drew was so much responsible for so much great stuff that people don't know. He needs to do a podcast too. But
We'd love to talk to Drew. He was one of the first people that I even found and hit up.
Yeah.
It was during the pandemic. I was just starting to be in music, like managing artists and producers, whatever. And I hit up like just everyone that I found that was like a badass executive, and he was actually one of them.
Yeah.
And yeah, shout out to Drew. I'd love to talk to him for sure.
So after that had been going for a week or maybe two, you know, Drew was like, man, like we need something else. And so he came up with the hours and hours singing challenge. And so what we had was singers come on and sing hours and hours, and that took on the life of its own, and that helped boost it. And then we started focusing on the second verse because the first verse like was so well known. It's like, okay, second verse is great too. So we started doing the second verse, and you know, it just was, you know, it was the biggest moment that year for sure. You know what I mean? Became the #1 streaming song, #1 everywhere. Eventually went on to win a Grammy. And you know, it was great.